So, here, before we talked about straight line and linear functions, now we have something that's like a curve. So this thing here, this curve, this is called a parabola. Now, this question asks, identify the vertex and A.O.S. Now, what does A.O.S stand for? It stands for axes of symmetry. And then tell whether it is a maximum or a minimum. Then identify the maximum or minimum value. So first, let's identify the vertex. Now the vertex here, as you can see, this parabola, it is symmetrical and it goes like this. So everything on this side is symmetrical to this side. Now, in order to identify the vertex, remember that a vertex is always a coordinate. So how do you know the vertex? So you just have to kind of memorize where the vertex is. It's always at the bottom or at the top. So some of the parabolas could be like this. Instead of going upwards, some of the parabolas could be going downwards. So in this case, it is going upwards. So we want to know where the vertex is. So the vertex is here. So this point here. Now we just need to write the coordinate of this point. So here the coordinate of the x is 2, comma, negative 2. So the vertex is a 2, negative 2, and then comma, negative 2. So it's always a coordinate. Now for the axis of symmetry, the axis of symmetry is always something like x is equal to something. So how do we know if x is equal to what? Now, here it's always on the vertex. So what is x? So here we have a coordinate, right? Now, which one of these two numbers is x? 2. So we're going to write the axis of symmetry is going to be x is equal to 2. Remember, you can't just write axis of symmetry is just 2. That is wrong. You have to always write an equation. X is equal to 2. Now moving on, it says, tell whether it is a maximum or a minimum. Now how do you know that? So here, this is also a parabola, but it is going downwards. And this parabola here is going upwards. So don't get tricked. Remember, if it's going upwards, it doesn't mean it is a maximum. Why? Because if you imagine, like, let's say we extend the line here, remember that a line on a graph is always infinitive. So it is infinitive right now, right? Then it comes to a stop here. It comes to a stop here. So we know that it is a minimum because that's the lowest point. Now, if you take a look at this, if you take a look at this parabola, it is a maximum because the maximum point of this whole line is this part here. So it is a maximum. But remember, we're answering this question, so forget about this one. So we know that this parabola is a minimum, so we can just circle that here. Now, identify the maximum or minimum value. Now, we have to cancel this maximum because it is not a maximum, it is a minimum. So we have to find the minimum value. Now, how do we know the minimum value? Basically, it's very similar to axis of symmetry. Instead, it is y is equal to something. So, the minimum value is going to be y is equal to something. Again, you have to take a look at the vertex. So here, which of these two number represents y? It is negative 2. So the minimum value is y is equal to negative 2. So this is it. This is basically how you kind of identify the different things when you try to solve a parabola, when you're given a parabola.